So casually keep diving into concrete, so bittersweet, huh? Keep losing sleep while driving in the backseat. What's left of me? Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder, you know. Sometimes everything just gets hard. Sometimes everything just gets harder. Feeling like I'm missing some parts. Days just keep on getting much darker. Even when I'm down in the low, I remember what you were saying. Coming home with a smile, smoky moon, like a shiver, all the shadows fade away. All your streets are empty, lights begin to sway. 4 a.m. as I think, oh, Stockholm love. Sometimes I picture how life had been in Paris or New York or Shanghai. But you know what they say, east or west, our home is best. Warming rays, golden sunlight as the city wakes. Oh, my love for you will never fade away. 5 a.m. as I sing, oh, Stockholm love. Stockholm love. Sometimes I picture how life had been in Paris or New York or Shanghai. But you know what they say, east or west, our home is best. Warming rays, golden sunlight as the city wakes. Oh, my love for you will never fade away. 5 a.m. as I sing, oh, Stockholm love. Stockholm love. Darling, I would die for you. Tell 1,000 lies for you. Love you like the ocean, love you in slow motion. Anything it takes to make you stay. But I can't rely on you. Doesn't matter what I do. You say you need a time, I think you mean a buyout. Cause it's pretty clear you're on your way out. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So
Whew. Okay, guys. All right. Sorry, had some technical difficulties. But we are back. We are back with another video, and well, live stream in this case. So yeah, struggle streaming. Sorry. But yeah, I just want to say first and foremost that I appreciate everybody that tunes in to the live streams, whether you watch, whether you hear live, whether you're in the replay. I appreciate you. I just want this to be like a kind of relaxed, chill stream. I was kind of going back and forth about what I wanted to talk about or what we can engage with because it's not just about me. I want this to be an experience for you guys too. So at the end of the day, what I ended up coming up with is the old debate because we know that the election is coming up. We know that the election is approaching. It's almost here. A lot of people they're doing early voting. So yeah, come hell or high water, it is approaching. So the end is near. And one way or the other, whatever the outcome, people are going to have to live and adjust either way. But I just find it interesting, particularly in the like in the black community, the way the black community goes about voting, the way the black community goes about, you know, engaging politically. And I personally I think it's kind of ironic and funny a lot of times, but that's just me. But today I specifically want to highlight and I want to go through this debate and we're going to go through it together. And we're just going to break down and we're just going to see or look into the mind of a Christian who's voting for Trump and a Christian who's voting for Kamala. And what happens when these two come, when they're in a room and forced to actually have conversation, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. That's what it's all about, conversation. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody for watching. I think, you guys are dope and amazing. I appreciate, what I mean? Yeah, I'm grateful. I appreciate it. Um, with that being said, let's just let's just go ahead and get into it.
Balanced and great perspective on all things politics and everything that we have going on in the nation. And you are historically been connected with the Democratic Party.
That's correct.
So we have both of you sitting in here, and the room didn't catch on fire. Nothing crazy happened. I'm personally honored and grateful for you both because you offer good perspective. I don't think that a lot of Americans have nuanced conversations about politics, and that's probably because we have been conditioned to have a very kind of black and white vantage point on things as it pertains to that. And I have a lot of questions. And so what I'll do is I'll just kind of lob some out and you both feel free to give your perspective. And then I may have some individual questions. But off the top, I know both of you, I have a very, a lot of my viewers are faith-based, Christian audience. And I was looking at, a Barna poll that said only 50% of people of faith are voting in this election, which is significantly lower than 2020. It says 2/3 of them lacked enthusiasm about the candidates. Some cities are not getting direction from their churches.
Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Almost half of the non-voters were deterred by the belief that the election outcome is going to be rigged. Is there any reason why you both would say it's important for a Christian to vote at all?
I would say it's important for a Christian to vote because I think it's a matter of stewardship.
Mm-hmm.
So as someone who has a vote, that means you have influence. And
shout out to you, Tiffany. What's going on? Hey, I appreciate it. Shout out to her. She's dope. She's dope. Shout out to her. Yeah. Seriously. Just yeah. It's like This is why I say I miss live streaming because honestly, like it's some dope people in the chat. Tiffany is one of the dopest people that I met on here. And seriously, like, yeah, just shout out to her. Shout out to her. You know, I appreciate you. Time. Time, another person always showing up, supporting every time you come through, man. You always just dope every time you come through because you know what I mean. You always just come with positivity. You always come with good energy. I appreciate you, man. Seriously. He says, J Red, stay healthy, blessed, balanced, and life focused and motivated every day. And it says, are you running for presidency, bro? You look sharp. Consistency is the key, my brother. Facts. Facts. It definitely is. It definitely is. And you know what I mean? It's just, yeah. It just, yeah, lifestyle change. I guess you could say that. President is overrated, though, my opinion. Um, Tiffany says, Trump all the way. We don't want a stupid puppet in office. Facts. Absolutely facts. Absolutely facts.
Think for a Christian, when you have influence, you should try to use that influence to serve your
A cackling stupid puppet, by the way. She cackles a lot.
neighbor to do good and things of that nature. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit and say you going to hell or it's a sin not to vote. Sometimes you do it strategically. I mean, sometimes people have good reasons not to do it. But when you get an opportunity to help somebody to be able to vote on something that could feed a child or protect a child or something like that, you should do it. You should steward that influence in the right way.
That's good.
Yeah, I believe it was not Abraham Lincoln, but one of the founding fathers, when coming out of the convention hall, was asked what type of government are we going to have, and he said a Republican, if you will have it. And so I think it's important to understand that a democratic republic relies on its citizens engaging and saying what they want and what they feel comfortable with. And when we take ourselves out of that conversation, then we can't wonder why we feel society may be hostile to our faith. It's like we have to be engaged, and we have to win no matter who's in office, which means we have to be engaged on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Because that's how a republic works. And so I agree. I think it's very important to be engaged. In ancient Greece, voting was compulsory. I mean, you could be fined or marked with red paint if you didn't vote, and you know it was a symbol of just how important everyone's voice is in the process. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, non-voting can be strategic. Often it's not, right? Yeah. Often it's just apathy. But I do want to speak to those who do feel like their vote doesn't matter, because I think there are a lot of people who see some of the corruption, see some of the stuff going on in politics, and like, it doesn't matter how I vote. The corporations are going to decide, you know, what's done in the agencies. They're going to, you know, have the influence over the politicians and things of that nature. So while we say you should vote, I think we also need to acknowledge there's some things within our democracy that probably need to change. There's some corporate capture and things.
That's a key fact right there. That's a key fact right there. That's a key fact right there. Oh, that's deep. That's deep right there because you know it's like there are some things that definitely need to change. I personally think that you know I mean they may need to get rid of the electoral college. It's just my opinion because the way it's set up and the way these states like California and you know like New York have so much of a say to the point where if it wasn't for those states, then based off of the polls, Kamala wouldn't even be in the race. She wouldn't even be in the race. But whew, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just it's complicated. I feel like if a person you vote because certain things matter more than just a presidential election. You know what I mean? What like voting locally, like who your judges are, who you know who the prosecuting attorney, all those types of people. Those types of elections matter more. So it's like I'm less inclined to say a person has to do anything, but I do think that some elections are definitely more important than others. Sometimes you have to come out of yourself and realize that, oh, wow, if this person gets in office, it's going to negatively impact everybody. It's just wow. You know what I mean? It's just wow. Um, let's see. Let's look at these comments real quick before we get back into the video. Some jobs are specifically for men and some jobs for women. Yeah, that's true. Plain and simple. Straight to the point. I respect it, definitely. Um, Tom says we definitely need more candidates. I agree. I don't like the fact that we're forced to pick between Democrats and Republicans. I think that it would be much more fair if people like in the Libertarian and the Green Party were allowed to actually have a real chance of winning. But until people wake up, I guess it's just crazy. It's just yeah. Oh man. Um. Jeremy Thomas says you support unaliving kids, huh? Dang, FYI, Donald Trump Jr. ain't exactly against it. I don't understand what the point of that statement. What's the? Okay, yeah, okay. Tiffany says the best candidate is one that is not a politician, and we have that in this race. That's a valid point. That's a valid point. Trump isn't a politician. Trump is different from every candidate. And I hear a lot of people using that to disqualify him, but maybe that in itself, maybe that in itself just actually qualifies Trump even more. Maybe that qualifies him even more because of the fact that he isn't a standard politician. Because all these standard politicians have gotten us to the point where we are now. Right? I mean, fair to say. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off. Let me know if I'm off. Uh, but yeah. Okay. Kamala's unaliving kids, and I do not support her. She said Trump all the way. They both had the same stance on kids. They absolutely do not have the same stance on kids. Trump believes that it should be up to the states. He believes that there should be exceptions. Kamala Harris does not believe that it should be up to the states. She believes that the federal government should be in complete control and that women should be able to do whatever they want in regards to the caring and the nurturing of children or fetuses. I'm just saying that's not true. That's not true. But I mean, yeah. Yeah. But let's get back into this
That
though.
nature that we need to acknowledge rather than just kind of condemning the people that don't vote. Why? What is it about our system? What messages are they being sent that tells them what their vote doesn't matter?
That's good. Do you think churches, like, do we care about the voting as much as we care about our candidates winning? Do you think, like, what is y'all perspective on the temperature of a lot of churches right now?
That's a good question. I would say I think you hit on something interesting. I think some people are saying, man, you better vote. They're really saying you better vote for my candidate. And they probably ain't.
Facts. Because let's just be honest. You go up in a normal black church and you say that you voting for Donald Trump. They're going to look at you like you crazy. They're going to judge you. They're going to treat you like a sinner. It's just crazy. Do you know that there's a lot of people, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just me. Let me not even say that. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that when you're in a black church or a black environment that you cannot openly discuss your political views without being ready to be the only one that probably is amongst you that shares those same beliefs. I don't think that what he's saying or what they're saying is hyperbole. I don't. I think that it's completely true. And I don't like, you know what I mean? I don't mind being the oddball out. It's just something you just gotta acknowledge and deal with. But yeah, I mean, it's the truth. Yeah, it's the truth. I think it's a big problem. I think it's a big problem.
Mad at you if you were gonna vote for the other candidate and you don't vote, they probably wouldn't care as much. And that's true. I mean, do we really want people to vote so they're voicing themselves, or do we just want them to vote for our person? I don't know that we often ask that question, but that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still surprised and processing that statistic that you said 50% of people of faith voting. I'm really amazed. I you know, it's kind of hit me in the gut to see the decline of religious adherence in America in general, and then to see it, you know, really fall off after really 3.
And another thing I'll say is I have a huge problem with the way that black people in general, but specifically the black church, how you vote based off of identity politics. You know what I mean? Like, you'll vote for identity politics versus voting for things that actually align with the doctrine that you're supposed to believe in. It's just backwards to me. It's backwards. So I personally don't support identity politics, voting based off of that. I'm not going to participate in that. I think that people should vote based off of policy. Vote for the person that aligns with I guess that most aligns with the world that you want to see. Because at the end of the day, none of these people are perfect. See, people think just because you voting for Donald Trump that you just a big Donald Trump supporter, or you're just a big Donald Trump fan person. No, you just may think he's the better candidate out of the two. Maybe.
Decades of the Christian right sort of being hyperactive. I'm still processing that.
Yeah. So, you know, if we're to, obviously with the, I don't know, 300 million people in America, if you were to kind of poll that 300 million people, most of the Christians, if they were to vote, it would more than likely mean that Donald Trump would be president, just based off of how historically evangelicals have voted. I'm just curious, like, as we just talked about, like, hey, is it about a Christian voting? Is it about a Christian voting for their candidate? And I guess I'm curious from y'all's perspective, historically, why does evangelical and Republican generally go hand in hand from y'all's vantage point?
I'll let him.
You want me to start?
Because Republicans typically have more conservative views, and conservative views typically align more with Christianity. It's just common sense to a certain extent. That's why a lot of people have a problem with like modern Christianity now, is because they feel like they're too liberal. They're too lenient on a lot of things, which a lot of people believe isn't really helping people. Just my thoughts.
I'll let you start.
So I think you start seeing like this movement, the religious right, you know, really come to form in like the early 80s with like Jerry Falwell, Focus on the Family, Pat Robinson, and they had more than the general political infrastructure, right? They had TV networks and universities and major denominations like the Southern Baptists. And so they were able to take large control over messaging to large amounts of people who identified as Christian, whether that was on Sunday at church or whether that was over the news network or whether that was at a university. And that really carried the Republican Party for 3 decades. I mean, from the 80s all the way to the early 90s, I mean, really until Obama. Most of your presidents during that time were Republican. You had one term of Jimmy Carter, if you want to go back even further, and then you had the 2 terms of Bill Clinton, where still a lot of Christian conservative policy still got passed. I mean, Defense of Marriage Act came out of Bill Clinton's administration, and so I think that movement is not there anymore. There's still some remnants of it, but that movement, the strength of that movement is gone. But I still think they have been successful at sort of establishing this link between being a Christian and social values, abortion and LGBT causes and stuff like that. And so I think people may link that way because of that.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit on the head. It's the culture war. So prior to probably like maybe the late 70s or something like that, white evangelicals, as I understand it, and this is something I had to read about and learn, they really weren't into political advocacy. And until you get the Falwells, the moral majority, all that, now they start getting into advocacy as liberals started what they would say kind of taking over institutions, which is true to some extent. I mean, if you look at Princeton, these were all Christian institutions.
Seminaries.
And then seminaries, right. And then you get kind of this incursion of kind of liberal theology and all that into the conversation. Now what happens, white evangelicals who usually didn't really get along with Catholics and conservative Jewish folks begin to come together and form a bond and say, hey, we have to push back because now our values, what we assumed was a given about marriage, what we assumed was a given about sexuality, and it's no longer a given anymore. We have to come together and form this bond. That coalition becomes a conservative Republican coalition. Now, some of those people from that coalition, maybe in the 60s or 50s, were Dixiecrats.
That's right.
Which were very conservative Southern Democrats who go over into the Republican Party. The Republican Party from that time on, one of the 3 legs of the stool is going to be social conservatism, which locks in that group of people to vote for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess, and I'm just telling my own journey, right? In this, I become a Christian, and
guys, I just want to stop this for a second and just say, man, this is some good coffee. Y'all do not even know.
Late 90s, early 2000s. And as I become a Christian where there's not a culture war that I understood, right? I didn't understand it to be a culture war. I become a Christian within a Black parachurch organization. And inside of it, I would say I was exposed to a lot of kind of historically Black theologians and teachers. But the overarching organization was probably more part of the white evangelical infrastructure, the religious right infrastructure. So at times I was listening to kind of conflicting information, and I was like, wait, which one is which? What am I supposed to be listening to? The parachurch organization had people from Black churches coming to speak, but then at times there was a joint conference where I'm hearing some of my white brothers and sisters, and they had a different outlook on certain things. And as I feel like the culture war happened, there was this divide that I experienced. And I think there were a lot of probably African-American Christians who were saying, which way do I go politically? Because if I'm supposed to be civically and politically involved, which is good stewardship of my faith? And I'm just curious, do you feel like your party is a a reflection of good stewardship of your faith, or do you feel like it is indifferent? Or like, what would be your perspective on that?
Yeah, I would take that. I don't think your party says anything about your faith.
Okay.
Right. I don't think, number one, I don't think your party should be a part of your identity in the first place. So like who you are, what decisions you make, it shouldn't be driven by your party. To me, the party is a tool. And so I think a smart person might say, I may be in a different party depending on where I'm at, what's going on in my, locally in my environment and so on. So no, I don't think it says any. I think we make that assumption, and we'd like to make that assumption, and partisans would like you to connect it to your faith so you don't move away from what they want you to do. But I don't think there should be that connection there at all. I think where you stand on the issues says more about your faith than anything else. And I can see issues, on one side or the other that you may need to say, I can't rock with the Democrats on this. I gotta, choose what some may consider a more.
He better than me. I think the Democrats are terrible. I think they are terrible. Absolutely terrible. I think the Democrats are horrible. I'm not a fan of the left, but one thing I do agree with what he said is I do not think that it should be your political party should not be part of your identity. I'm just saying, like me, I don't actually identify with any particular political party per se. I just, I'm more conservative type of fella, if that makes sense. Yeah, give or take. You know what I mean? But yeah, for the most part, my belief system falls in the conservative belief system. So guess what? It's like, of course, I'm going to vote in a way that aligns with those beliefs. So, I don't really get, I don't know.
Conservative stance on an issue or a more progressive stance on.
I don't get why people think it's such a big deal. You know what I mean? It's like people just change on you. Then they look at you funny. They treat you different. They talk about you, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. I'm just being honest, guys. I don't get it.
Parties exist to win elections. That's their primary role. And this might bust people's brain, but these parties don't care about your values. They don't care. I used to say this all the time, that the Republican Party would throw abortion stances under the bus if it meant winning an election.
They just did that.
Yeah.
We got two pro-life parties.
Yeah.
Two pro-choice parties right now.
Parties. Yeah. And, I always used to say, if Obama became Republican, we'd run him for president the next day. Parties exist to win an election. They don't really care about anything else. It's how do I get, environmentalists to vote with union workers. It's how do I build coalitions to win an election? That is it. And I always saw my party as a civic organization. And I'm glad I grew up apolitical. I had no idea about the cultural significance of parties. I didn't even know what a Republican and a Democrat was until I got to middle school and learned about it in civics class. And so I don't have a cultural relationship with the Republican Party. So when I'm talking about my political values or the issues that I'm standing on, I'm talking about it from an almost academic perspective. I'm not really tying in. I have to be careful about that because a lot of other people are consuming that and interpreting that culturally. But I agree. Parties exist to win elections. And politics is about the role of government. Religion is about the afterlife, and it has implications on this life. And so the two are totally different in terms of how you should be approaching them.
And I would just add that I don't think, I've said this before, I don't think being in any party automatically makes you unfaithful. What makes you unfaithful is if you don't push back against that party when they are in the wrong. Right?
Your own party.
Or your own party. So if you see Republicans, you're a Republican, you see, he may disagree with me on this, you see Republicans talking bad about immigrants, I think you need to say something. If you're a Democrat and you see a Democratic Party that basically acts like an unborn child doesn't exist, like it's not a fact, it's not a part of the equation at all when you make a decision, you got to say something, push back against that. And I think those are the questions we should be asking, not simply what party you're in.
But would you say that these parties are so broad that those counter voices are
the leadership?
The leadership of the party. Okay, great.
Yeah. So I hear what you all are saying, which is probably vastly different than what a lot of Americans probably understand. Is that the party has nothing to do with your identity? Why is it then, from your vantage point, is that the nomenclature? Is that the consistency of what we're seeing right now?
Because I think party leadership and sometimes even faith leadership that's connected with party leadership has an interest in us connecting that with our identity because they have to do less work. So if Lecrae is really looking at all the issues by himself, separate of a party, I got to convince you of every issue to show you I'm really the best party. If I can just get Lecrae to say I'm a Democrat and assume that we're going to always do the right thing, I got to do less work because Lecrae's already on my team. I just really have to show him how bad Corey is. And I don't really have to do that much because Lecrae's not looking at those issues for himself independently.
Okay.
And kind of bringing all those issues through what we call biblical scrutiny, like what would the Bibles have to say in this? And the Bible doesn't tell you how to vote on everything, but we should be thinking through that kind of framework. Yeah. But if I can get you to think through a partisan framework first, I do less work.
Yeah.
Now that's really interesting. You know what else is interesting? Is ad-free content. Like not having this interview interrupted by ads. And that's what I believe you want. The way that happens is by you subscribing. To B-Side, where you will get seamless ad-free content and you'll be able to enjoy this interview along with tons of,
and I even hate to say principles because parties don't have party
options. Seamless ad-free content
happening. Like I see the parties like trying to almost make their party your religion. And so people are like starting to commit to the party's principles. And I even hate to say principles because parties don't really have principles or whatever they're pushing at the time. Hook, line, or sinker. It doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong, even if it's something that is hard for you to swallow, that something that disagrees with your own personal principles or even religious principles. I mean, you have Christians who will part with you because of who you voted for. Now, I can't be friends with him anymore. I'm like, so wait, you will cut off relationships over the party, but you won't cut off relationships over religion? Like, to me, you're more tolerant religiously than you are politically. Like, that's a deep thing, and we have to do as...
He just said the key right there. He just said the key right there. Hey, Tiff, I should have, maybe I shouldn't have put Trump in the title. Oh well. Yeah, I didn't see anything, so yeah. That's wild. That's well. Yeah, well, you know how that goes. But what did he just say? Oh yeah, I remember. What this guy just said is a very key problem that I have with the church, right? Because they are more tolerant. They're more tolerant of people going up and doing anything and everything in the church. Y'all remember what wasn't it William Murphy that had them in there with the trampolines and doing all the crazy dancing and stuff like that? You got Jamal Bryant kicking out his own members for Kamala Harris because she got heckled. All these people, they have more tolerance for that than they do for people that are coming into church engaging in homosexual activities in the church with people in the church. Don't even get me started on the people that whew, you. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. The church just don't have they don't have the same, like, they don't have the same conviction that they once had in order to hold people accountable for bad behavior. I.e., when you look at single women in the black church, when you look at or single mothers in the black church, when you look at non-married couples living, you know what I'm saying, doing all this stuff, all these things that the church is okay with and that churches condone and that they deal with, and then all of a sudden, because you vote for a candidate that's different than me, or because I believe something that the mainstream media says, not necessarily something that's true, but because I don't listen to regurgitated mainstream media, now all of a sudden you draw the line? That's crazy. That's crazy.
As Christian leaders, a lot of unraveling there, because I think behind all of that, there's a trick of the enemy to pull people away from the lordship of Christ in their life.
And the parties are fickle. Like, let me give you a current example. We already named one of them. Let me give you a current example of how fickle the parties are. A lot of Christians who voted for Trump last time and the first time said they voted for him based off sanctity of life, the abortion issue, being pro-life. Okay, cool. Well, they take that issue out of the Republican platform this year. It wasn't in the, at the RNC, it wasn't even part of the platform.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, you built a constituency on this issue and you take it out the platform. But look what's happening on the other side. Do you remember when Trump said he was building the wall and how big of a deal, how immoral and everything the Democrats had to say about that? Now, Vice President Kamala Harris says she would build a wall.
She'll build a wall.
Right? Like, so to your point, it's not about principle. It's about what's ever on the agenda at that time to win at that moment. Now, I tend to think there's a general direction that they go on certain issues. Sure. But none of that is set in stone. And so you crashing out, losing family members for people who are as fickle as you can get.
Don't have your principles in mind with their agenda. So that brings me to another question. And like, what qualities do you think are essential in political leaders, especially from like a Christian perspective? Like, does that matter?
I think this is a good question. I'm going to tell you why it's a good question, guys. I'm going to tell you why. Because, like, listen to this. This is important. This is important, seriously. Because I had a conversation one time with someone, church person. So, let's just say church person. And in this conversation that I had with them, the conversation we were talking basically Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, right? And it was Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. And we were talking basically about policies and being president. And the conversation basically evolved into Donald Trump having poor character, and therefore that disqualified him over the other candidates. And my thing is, what is the criteria that we're looking at when we say that a person has the character for leadership? The character for leadership. When we're talking about a leader of one of the strongest and top military organizations, because that's what America essentially is. We're a military organization, military operation. You know what I mean? That's how we maintain our power. And when you look at it, do you really want somebody that's falling asleep on stage, falling asleep, can barely remember where he is? Do you want some cackling hyena? Maybe I should have said that. But do you want some cackling Kamala Harris who 1 minute she's Indian, the next minute she's black? Is that really what you want? What? Picture this, guys. I need you to close your eyes, Thanos snap, and just picture Kamala Harris in a room negotiating with Vladimir Putin to convince Putin not to hit the button. Because everybody knows that we got a button, they got a button. Guess what? If anybody hits the button, everybody goes boom. And it's good for nobody. This is why I have a problem with warmonger Democrats. Because guess what? I don't like putting money into conflicts that could escalate into a world war. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't. I want peace. Guess what? There was peace when Donald Trump was in office. There was peace. Why was there peace? Because Donald Trump is a businessman. Negotiate. People love to say, he's friendly with Putin. Friendly with Putin. We got Putin, who is probably the closest thing that the public knows to Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. We have Vladimir Putin. Is he somebody that you want to piss off? When you think about a military leader, commander-in-chief, do you want that person to be all friendly, all inclusive, all lovey-dovey? I don't. I want him to be strong. I want him to be cocky. I want him to be arrogant. I want him to listen to people when they try to give him good advice. Hint, hint. But yeah, I don't want the nice guy to be the leader. That's not what you need. And that's why it's always funny when we get to talking about this character thing. Because guess what? When things hit the fan, and they can always hit the fan, you don't need lovey-dovey. You don't need inclusive. You don't need DEI. You need somebody who's gonna go in the room, is gonna work out a deal, and not make the country look bad. And the truth of the matter is, Kamala can't even do that for herself. She can't do it for herself. It's pathetic. Let's go ahead and look at these comments real quick. Tiffany says, I'm not with that church mess. I'm not with that church mess and that rainbow in the church neither. Yeah. I agree. Let's see. Have you seen those videos they've been doing at the border? Wow. No, I actually haven't lately. I kind of had checked out of it when I seen those Haitians doing what they would. Oh, I'm sorry. It's wrong to say that. It's wrong to say that. Well, yeah, whatever. But yeah, it was just, it's interesting. It's a lot of crazy things going on. I really cannot believe how Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have allowed this to happen. I really just can't. It's pathetic. Sleepy Joe. Yeah, Sleepy Joe. Keep your enemies close. Facts. That's the thing that people don't understand. It's like, why would you want him to be at odds with another big superpower? No, in fact, you want to be friends. Even if y'all not best beer drinking buddies. No, you still look, we can be cordial. You the man, I'm the man. We can be the man together. What's wrong with a lot of people? Y'all don't know how to work. Y'all don't know how to work together. If I'm a superpower and you're a superpower, that does not mean that we have to go to war. Maybe we can take over the world together. Just saying. Keep your enemies close. Tiffany, shout out to you. I appreciate the comments and support. If she wins, we definitely going to war. Stock up on food, water, medicine if she wins. Yeah? No, I agree. And then they're going to be trying to take people's guns and all that kind of stuff. It's just crazy. She already said that she supports mandatory buybacks. You know what I mean? Like, people, no. No, this is not. It's not gonna be a good thing. It's not gonna be any good thing because we already on the brink of it. Now they're gonna look at America and they're gonna see she can't get respect. Nobody is gonna respect her. It's gonna be bad. And then they love war. Yeah. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate the comments. Like I said, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in, that's watching, everybody that will tuned in. I appreciate you. You know what I mean? Like, thank you. Seriously. Thank you. And thank you, Tiffany. You're so dope. Appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get back to it.
Obviously, like ideally we would love someone to have the principles that we care about, but I'm just curious, like, how do you assess the morality of people in power?
I mean, there's a lot of things you can look at. You have to look at that, like, what type of person is this? How did this person come into power? Right? It's been said that maybe 10% of politicians come into politics to do something specific. I want to end poverty or something like that. 90% come in to be somebody. Right? And so I'm trying to figure out which one of those are and how far, like, where is your anchor? So you're never gonna have perfect candidates that do everything you want to, that have a completely clean record. But can I find a moral anchor in things that you won't do? Do you have a level of character? That has to matter. Now, to have a great character and terrible policy and be incompetent, right? It doesn't matter by itself. Right. That's not the only thing that matters. But it's something that Christians could look at, because this is somebody who this is the most powerful person in the nation. Yeah. This is somebody who represents the country. Those things have to matter as a major factor in choosing a candidate.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I think we live, regardless of how we feel, in a post-scandal environment. And I think we have watched enough House of Cards and Scandal and those types of shows to kind of desensitize ourselves to real scandal. And then I think we've gone through a period of exposure that has humbled most people. So that sort of, punishment that came with bad behavior for political leaders just doesn't exist, writ large anyway. And so I think that puts a lot more emphasis on Christians as voters, as civic participants, just going back to what we said before, because, in our federalist system, typically you start at the local level and then you get elected at the state level and then you go on to the federal level. And so who we pick locally, the people we know, the people we hear the rumors about, the people who grew up in our neighborhood and went to our high school, those people, it's important that we pick the right ones of those people, because when they go to the next level, we're sending our best up the chain.
That's good. So as it pertains to both of you, I think there's like the question that probably gets thrown your way. If not thrown your way directly, it's what sits in people's minds. And it is different for both of you. So I'll ask you, for Corey, it's how can you call yourself a black man and a Republican? For Justin, it's how can you call yourself a Christian and a Democrat? And I'm just curious, how do you respond to that? Like, what would be your answer to that? That's the general consensus. Obviously, we know that's so nuanced, but for most people, just sticker shock immediately. Those are their things.
Yeah, I think for me, I was just telling Justin this, I've been thinking a lot on that issue. First of all, just as a person, I hate being a foregone conclusion. So I've spent most of my life, trying not to be in a box. And so I was saying earlier that I grew up apolitical. Like, I never once seen an adult in my family yelling at the television or debating politics over Thanksgiving dinner. I've only had one political memory when my mom took me with her to vote. She left me in a car, and she was looking at the brochure with all the politicians on it, candidates. And right before she got out of the car, she said, under her breath, he's going to take us back to slavery. And then she got out of the car. That's my only memory. And I've had conversations with her to try and prepare.
Doesn't that sound familiar? I know y'all have heard people say that about Donald Trump. Oh, he's going to take us back to slavery. Oh, we're going to end up back to slavery. Oh, you're young. Oh, you're a young black man and you're voting for him. Oh, he's going to take us. He's going to have y'all back in chains. You just wait and see. Last time I checked, we didn't do that bad under Trump. I'm just saying. We didn't do that bad under him. I mean, COVID could have happened to anybody. Just saying. Could have happened to anybody.
Who that person was he was talking about, we can't figure it out. But I say that to say, I didn't know that there was a conflict between being black and Republican until I got to high school. So I learned about Republicans and Democrats in middle school, and the teacher, wrote a line down the middle of the board, and he put the Republican platform and the Democrat platform. And I just said to myself, oh, I'm a Republican. When I get to high school, my civics teacher is a black Republican. And all of the black students, and he used to fight, be fierce fights every day. And that's when I realized, it's not cool to be black and Republican.
I can only imagine. Can you imagine me? Then because it's always those smart kids that think that they know everything. The pro-socialism. It's always those types.
Republican, but because of the way I'm wired, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna just join the crowd. So I joined on his side in defending Republicanism. And so for me, I go all the way back to the original Republicans who were radical abolitionists. They were radical about liberty. And what I love about Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, is regardless of his diplomatic nuance and maneuvering, he was willing to burn this place down rather than have that institution survive. And that's the type of passion that that I have for liberty, that I want to have for liberty, that I aspire to have. And so I try to identify with the original Republicans because I think that's the purest place for Republicanism. I also think there's a modern model for it, and that's Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice. And these are two people who had respect on both sides of the aisle, respect amongst blacks, and respect amongst the Republican base. But the one thing about them is they both were black first, and then Republican. And so they were willing to call out their party when their party was wrong, because they were black. And whenever they speak, they're not speaking necessarily to Republicans. They're speaking as black people. And so even today, if you watch video of Condoleezza Rice, she is such a great communicator about issues on race. She can draw from growing up in segregated Alabama and going to a church that was blown up in Birmingham, and so she's able to identify with African Americans because she sees herself as one. And I think the modern Black Republican sees himself as Republican first.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they talk, it's almost like somebody foreign is talking to you, because it's like, you're not identifying with me on any level.
Why are you talking about Tim Scott like that, bro? I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
And I think Tim Scott,
That was a joke.
Don't be
That was a
political
joke.
now. Don't try to save him.
no. I think Tim Scott.
I can kind of relate to that on a certain end. I mean, people have told me that, and I mean, I don't shy away from it personally. I personally don't shy away from it, but I mean, I'm not ducking the smoke about it. That's just me. I don't shy away from it because I think that it's important to separate yourself. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem detaching myself from that lens. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm weird, but that's just me. I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Do y'all want to keep watching this? They're kind of boring. Y'all let me know. Do you let me know something. Let me know something. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Yeah, cause they too cordial for my liking. I like when it gets spicy. No, for real though. But yeah.
Tries his best to do it, which is more than what I can say about a lot of them. I don't think he's particularly skilled at it because in his core, he is Republican first. And so, but I do think I could see moments and glimpses where I'm like, God, he's really thought about this and tried. Like when he went on The View, I thought he did a good job there. Byron Donalds, I think, does a good job as well.
Byron definitely would connect with your average Black
he's
person.
Black
more than
first. And I like him as a model for it as well. He's a lot more raw than Colin Powell and Condi Rice.
Sure.
But I like his approach as well.
I appreciate that. That's good.
So it's an interesting question for me because most Black Christians are Democrats.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So somebody who would ask that question would not even be in our community.
Sure.
And I think the reason that most Black Christians are Democrats is just history. I mean, you look at the voters' rights and things of that nature. It's the Democratic Party that brings that to bear. It's the Republican Party, especially after they take on the Dixiecrats, that pushes against those voting rights. So I don't think it's like some people just can't understand it. I'm like, I don't think it's that hard to understand. And so what I think people are getting at is, well, when you talk about the sanctity of life, when you talk about pro-life issues, how can Black Christians be Democrats? And I think one of the things is we never had the power to tell people what to do. It doesn't mean that it's right
God.
or that you think it's right. It's just like
that is Black culture victim Olympics 101. I just cannot deal with it. I'm sorry. I've been trying to let them cook before I formulate my thoughts, but I cannot. I do not have tolerance for that Black culture victim Olympics nonsense. I don't. Oh, we don't have power. We don't have power to institute any racism. We can't do this. Oh, yeah, we can't do that. Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, and on that end, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to that later. But yeah, yeah, guys, I'm gonna probably end. I'm gonna end this stream and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stream a little later. I gotta take care of something. But I'm yeah, I just wanted to come back, come and chill and kick it with y'all for a little bit. But I'm stream later on tonight, definitely. You know, come hell or high water. So be looking out for that. Yes, definitely be looking out for that. I'm gonna start the stream back up in a couple hours. Yeah, maybe. Hopefully, I'm trying to got to. Yeah, maybe might be able to make something special happen. Don't know yet. Don't know yet. But on that note, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like I said, I just wanted to come kick it with y'all for a little bit, but I do want to stress this that I have been vastly inconsistent with the live streaming as well as the uploads. So I just want to say I apologize for that. You know, life be life and sometimes, but let's just let's just I want you guys to hold me accountable. Hold me accountable. You know what I mean? Because I'm like I need to show up for y'all because you know I appreciate y'all. Like anybody that watches my streams, anybody that hears anything that I might say and it might resonate, you know, that's what it's all about. So I need to, you know, I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna tighten up. But like I said, I appreciate you guys. I'm definitely streaming a little, like in a few hours. So be on the lookout for that. I just wanted to come stop in real quick. I didn't think wouldn't, you know, hope I had something more interesting. But on that note, appreciate you, and I'll be back a little later. So tune in. All right, appreciate it.